This week, we take a look at the quasi-futuristic thriller Strange Days. And along the way, we ask, just how violent is James Cameron's future? Would you be comfortable living other people's experiences? And why is the wardrobe so strange? Let's jack in on this edition of Force-Fed Sci-Fi. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Force-Fed Sci-Fi as we jack into this film. That phrase is gonna just make me giggle like a little schoolgirl this whole time. But my name is Jackie and Sean Michael Culp, and along with me is my co-host.
I am the bodyguard, I guess. Chris Rupp.
Oh, what a nice, all right, bodyguard.
Well, I guess if you're going with the jacked-in Sean Michael Culp as Lenny Nero of the movie, I guess that by default makes me the bodyguard base.
All right. But yeah, so we just reviewed this film, or we just watched it, Strange Days, and let me tell you, this film is impossible to find. It's not on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu. I didn't see it on HBO. It wasn't in my library, so Chris actually ended up loaning me the copy.
Yes,
You found it somewhere.
I have an affinity for certain filmmakers, and Catherine Bigelow is one of them.
Yeah, she's good.
So I have several of her films in my collection, and it was just on a whim. I bought this a few years ago at one of my local bookstores for like $4 or $5. I'm like, done. Easy.
How did you even hear about this when it came out, or because you were young?
No, I didn't hear about this. This was not in my my family's I guess oeuvre.
Did you just like walk up, see Ralph Fiennes, and go, all right?
Yeah, I figured I'm a Ralph Fiennes fan.
Yeah,
you know, Angela Bassett was in it too, and
yeah, her '90s spree.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to find this, and little did I know it would be 2.5 hours of my life that I would have to invest in it.
Dude, I'm sorry. Oh, man, I can only wonder your face when watching this the first time, like your reaction to it.
If it's a movie I've never seen before, I always hit the display button to see like how long the movie's going to be.
Yeah.
And anytime I see something that's over like 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm like, what?
My life is going to be consumed by this great film.
So as Sean mentioned, we're discussing 1995's Strange Days. This movie is particularly brutal and violent and does contain some sensitive subject matter.
Yeah.
So if you have younger ears around you, this isn't the best episode to listen to. Maybe pause and go back to listen to one of our previous episodes. But just a content warning for you lovely folks today.
Yeah, don't put us on blast if you don't want people to hear it.
So how about we provide our listeners with a synopsis for those unfamiliar with this movie?
Okay, take it away, synopsis man.
Yes. So, when former cop turned street hustler Lenny Nero receives a disturbing snuff film detailing the death of one of his friends, he's forced to go back into a life that he seemed to cannot leave behind, as he begins to investigate the death of his friends as well as the mysterious murder of an activist/rapper and a corrupt police force. And he'll soon learn that even his friends and allies are not who they appear to be, as he unravels each thread of this mystery. So, that synopsis does not set this film up as a science fiction film. This sounds more like a noir thriller, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
it is.
This snuff film that Lenny receives is based off a technology that they call squid, which through wearing this helmet-like device you attach to the top of your head, and you have a recorder nearby, and it records all your sensations and what you see during whatever it is. If it's somebody that's holding up a liquor store or that's in some type of sexual encounter, it records all of that.
All of it. And you can apparently feel it when you wear it. Everything. It's almost like VR, like virtual reality, but you can actually, it's like you're the person.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Where VR maybe like 2 or 3 dimensions, this is like all of them.
Literally, this is like you taking your consciousness and like putting it in another person's body.
That's insane.
It's like far out, dude.
But we'll get to how that could work.
Yes.
So this movie was directed, as we mentioned, by Catherine Bigelow.
She didn't make the tea.
No.
Aha! No, it's terrible. I'm sorry.
So prior to this, she was most well known for directing Point Break.
Yeah, it's a solid film.
It's a great action film with a crazy Gary Busey. Because I don't remember a time when Gary Busey was not insane.
Dude, when he got that Oscar nod, right? He did. What is that, Buddy Holly?
It was a Buddy Holly movie,
Yeah.
and then I think he had like a motorcycle accident soon after that, and just
After that, he just went nuts, man.
he blamed his psychosis on the motorcycle.
Had a life of its own.
Yeah. And it was written by James Cameron,
Yeah.
the legendary James Cameron, who is actually the ex-husband of Catherine Bigelow.
So they were like the Hollywood power couple doing the films
At
together.
the time, I think they were only married for maybe 4 or 5 years, and production of this film, they were not together.
Oh, I bet that was awkward.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
I don't know. I follow the firm rule of don't poop where you eat, so I don't get involved with coworkers like that.
All right, fair enough. Who else do we got in here? He produced it, Stephen Charles Jaffe.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he worked with Catherine Bigelow on some of the films like K-19, Widowmaker. Ooh. And he did Star Trek IV, The Undiscovered Country.
Bully.
Or is that 6? I can't remember. Yeah,
You're
that
asking
is
me?
6. Well, hey, man.
Well, bully for him.
Bully for him. And yeah, so James Cameron, screenplay, story, and produced it.
And I read he also did some editing
Wow.
on this movie, and I'd be willing to bet I know which scene he edited.
We'll talk about that later. Oh, my God.
So this film is starring Ralph Fiennes,
A
who
young Ralph Fiennes.
very young Ralph Fiennes, who is coming off of Schindler's List at the time.
Yeah, he's got. Is this real hair? Because
Yeah.
was he going bald at this time? Or
I don't think he went bald. I think he went bald when he did the Avengers, not the Marvel Avengers, but the British Avengers.
Oh yes, that lovely film.
yeah,
I
I've
forgot
never
about that.
I've never seen
I
it.
forgot. It's bad. It's got Sean Connery though as the villain. So if you like Sean Connery, but it's pretty bad.
Also starring Juliette Lewis, a very young Juliette Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Angela Bassett, who is always awesome. Tom Sizemore, who great actor, garbage human.
Garbage. That's true. And then we got Vincent
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, a young Vincent D'Onofrio.
Very
This
young.
is like before Law and Order, right?
Before he got pudgy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a great actor, don't get me wrong. Also, William Fichtner. We have back-to-back
Yes,
movies
back-to-back
with William Fichtner.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. This guy just appears in things.
And then we have Michael Wincott, who plays the hawk-faced Philo Gant. Which I love that name, Philo.
Philo.
Because it's Clint Eastwood did these 2 like street boxer movies, Every Which Way But Loose, and
Okay.
Any Way You Can, where he plays a character named Philo Beto.
Philo Beto.
Yeah, the gag in that movie is he has a pet orangutan.
What?
You've never seen these
No.
movies? Oh, they're so funny.
What is this? What? What are they called?
It's called Every Which Way But Loose. The first one's called.
Every Which Way But Loose? The heck, man?
And then it's also starring Glenn Plummer. He plays Jericho 1, the rapper activist who is killed partway through the film.
Yep.
And then Joseph Summer, who plays the police commissioner, who's probably more well-known as a bit actor. He's also starred as a president in one of the X-Men films, I think.
Yeah.
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 But some casting notes. Andy Garcia was considered for Lenny Nero, which
This is
I would have
crazy.
been okay with that, too, at the time, because Andy Garcia
Yeah.
was huge in the mid-'90s.
Oh, yeah.
And
Godfather?
Bono. Yes, that Bono was considered for Philo Gant.
Bono.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I could see him
Bono
being
of
Phi-
U2.
That's good. Well, it's not like Philo did anything except like have his goons beat up Ralph Fiennes and play his guitar.
Well, he slapped Juliette Lewis in the face,
That's
so I don't
right.
know if Bono could have pulled that off.
That is true. He's such a nice man.
And then there was a who's who of Hollywood heavy hitters who were considered for Lenny Nero. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Denzel Washington, Michael Keaton, Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis, John Travolta. Again, he seems to be considered for a lot of movies we talk about. Sean Penn, Bill Paxton, Dennis Quaid, and Kurt Russell were all considered for that part.
Wow, that's so many good actors.
So it seems like they had a real hard time casting the role if they went
Yeah.
through that many guys.
Hey, kudos for not doing Tom Cruise because half of this movie would just be running.
So much
Endless
running.
Running.
Running in that ostentatious wardrobe.
Yes. Oh, God.
It would have just been like this blue polyester blur
You know
that's running
what?
by you.
I'm mad that they didn't have him run. That was a misfire on Bigelow.
Maybe, where's that movie? Instead of
Yeah.
Strange Days,
Yeah.
it's just called Strange Runnings.
You see Tom Cruise running everywhere. Well, he's probably not tall enough for the end murder scene with Tom Sizemore.
Yeah, Tom Sizemore would probably just pull him over the ledge.
He would, because he's so short. He'd just flop right over.
So how did this movie come about, Sean?
It came about by James Cameron. He decided he wanted to make an awesome film back in 1985 and decided to take 10 years to make it.
Yeah.
And it's like set, like you said, in the, I guess, Y2K. I guess that was supposed to be a big factor in the film, but
it didn't seem like there were any stakes with that, though.
No, it did not. It was weird because you can feel that it was written maybe 10 years prior. Because back then it was like, oh, Y2K, what's going to happen? But it kind of like sloughed off. They didn't.
Spoiler alert, nothing happened when the clocks rolled over to the year 2000.
Nothing.
The only thing that people were really worried about for Y2K, and then, of course, there were the survivalists and the people who were convinced the world was going to end, but there was
My dad.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for your dad. But the concern was a computer bug that didn't account for, like, the switchover days, because the bug was that it only counted years in 2 digits. So that the computer thought it was like 1999, but if it flipped over to 00, well, then it would think it was in 1900 and not the year 2000.
Oh.
So, I don't know. If you want more context on that, listen to the podcast titled Surviving Y2K, hosted by Dan Taberski, because he goes into more detail than I could.
That's awesome.
But people were seriously panicking about that. So yeah, I totally get if this film was made in 1985.
I guess it said it was made in May 12th, 94. And Catherine said that the O.J. Simpson murder case echoed the film's events.
I saw that that verdict and also the Rodney King case motivated Bigelow and Cameron to really get to work on it.
Okay.
Because one of the central event in that film is the assassination of Jericho 1.
Yeah, which that's like huge. Well, kind of. It's like they talk about it like with the cops, they're worried about the gangs taking over with the police drama.
It's brutal is what it is. It's a gangland execution is what it is.
It really is. Those cops just blow them away. But that was a great scene. Did you like that POV? Because a lot of this movie is filmed with POV.
Yeah,
when they do the squid elements.
They spent a full year developing those POV cameras.
That's so dope.
Yeah, and the camera itself ended up weighing about 8 pounds, and it could fit into the palm of someone's hand.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting with the camera because up until then, I don't think any POV shots were really done in films.
No. Not that I can recall.
So I would consider this a pioneer in that regards of that shot. I mean, granted, it's not used so much anymore.
Well,
but I mean, I think if you use it and you pick your moments and it's used to great effect,
totally.
Yeah, you can pull it off.
Well, that film, Hardcore Henry? I think that was all shot.
The
POV.
whole movie was shot
film.
in POV, and then it wasn't that good of a movie.
I did not see it. I just saw the trailer. But apparently this film was shot over the period of 77 nights in the Los Angeles area. And I guess the city was super cooperative, which is kind of crazy.
Made on a budget of $30 million.
$30 million?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
This was part of a production deal with James Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment and 20th Century Fox.
Ooh.
For this film and True Lies, which he wound up directing. But True Lies got the bulk of that deal because True Lies got $70 million.
Oh, my God.
Of that deal.
Isn't that with Schwarzenegger, too?
Yeah, it's with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, man. How is it? Is it good?
It's been years since I've seen it.
Some of those early films with Schwarzenegger, can't really understand.
It doesn't seem like it's a James Cameron film. It seems like it's a Rennie Harlan directed film.
That's what I mean. It's so like off the wall because he does like Aliens and then he does like Terminator.
Yeah,
and then like he jumps into Titanic, then Avatar. He's like super
and now he's
sci-fi.
going back to Avatar because
for like another 5 times.
I don't know how many more star-crossed lover films can you make, James Cameron. Apparently, you've got 5 more lined up.
Maybe it's what he really wants to talk about, Chris. Love.
I also read that that the New Year's Eve sequence cost over $750,000 to shoot.
Yeah, dude.
Required 50 off-duty police officers to control a crowd of 10,000 people.
God.
And the production actually hired rave promoters to fill the scene.
Rave promoters.
That's how they
dope.
advertise it was a rave for a movie, and they got all those people down there.
Oh, that's so cool. I would have gone.
Which just seems like a logistical nightmare to shoot.
Well, yeah, but it was executed though perfectly, because you just see all these people with all the confetti and the cops. It was brilliantly shot. Well, that was probably one of my favorite sequences, outside of like the POV moments and all that.
Yeah. That's squid tech. I mean, to me, how it works, it just doesn't make sense.
No. What does it connect to your cerebral cortex?
Yeah, and I read that the cerebral cortex processes information.
Yeah, it doesn't like make you feel. It has no connection to like your sensories.
And the implication is the wearer of the squid tech and the person who's viewing it, like they feel the sensations of the original wearer, right?
Yeah, because that's tough, because I feel like if you're going to experience what someone is, I guess, with your consciousness and theirs, you would have to have the technology all over your body. It would be like a full body suit.
Well, you would need something that measures the heartbeat. Also something that would measure like the adrenaline, blood pressure. Also just like these receptors all over the body that would measure like pain. Because
like when you touch something, you have sensors in your hand, and it says, hey, I'm touching something. It goes up to your brain, and then your brain shoots the signal back down and says, yes, I'm feeling the table. This is what it is. But it's not like your brain is like causing you to feel everything. You have to have the sensors all over your body in order to feel. Hence why, when someone goes paralyzed, they can't feel crap all over their legs.
Well,
Maybe. Jeremy's making a face at me. No?
Producer Jeremy's just looking at us with disdain.
You have to be able to send this signal, or no?
The brain interprets. So if you actually send signals right into the brain, your body might actually be tricked and feeling that. So you don't necessarily have to feel it on your skin.
Ooh.
So, and actually, my opinion would be this could be possible if you actually paralyze somebody. So you send those signals into the brain. It's almost like dreaming. Your body actually paralyzes you while you're dreaming, so you don't, fall off the bed or whatever.
That's so dope.
Jeremy's jabs.
Dude, we're paralyzed when we sleep.
Wow.
How dope is that? God, that's so cool.
I'm curious to know why the squid equipment was immediately made illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious, like maybe it was part of some type of political scandal, or it's a technology that wasn't supposed to make it to the civilian world.
I guess maybe the power that they could use it for.
Yeah, it seems like that would be abused pretty easily.
Well, yeah, because in the film, basically, the only videos that you ever see Lenny get is when someone's being raped or like sexually assaulted in some way or murdered. There's never, except like the one with the guy in the wheelchair where you can feel legs. That's like the only nice video we get to see.
I do want to ask you this. I mean, doesn't the idea of jacking in seem awful?
Yeah, like, I guess you could use it if someone says, take a walk in my shoes. Then you could actually do it.
Well, the entire film, we don't see positive clips of the squid. The one positive clip we get is Lenny gives a clip to a man who doesn't have legs. He gives him a clip of a man running down the beach and a woman smiling at him, and he feels the sensation of running and having legs. The rest of the film, it is just like it's either sexual encounters or it's like somebody ripping off a liquor store or
like creepy stuff, like running a knife along his throat.
So yeah, I could see how this technology could easily be abused.
Yeah, the only way I could see it is like if you want to know what it feels like to be someone in like a modern day, like I want to know what it's like to be in the military, on a deployment, and then you could like be in one of those action sequences if you want to join or something. or literally, if like someone's like, take a walk in my shoes, I'm like, all right. Oh, so this is what it feels like.
I'm good with just playing Call of Duty.
You're good with Call of Duty? Or someone with bad back problems? Do you want to know how this actually feels? Try it on. Oh my God. So maybe.
Well, the clip that really puts Lenny over the top and he can't handle it is that the blackjack, he calls it, the death of Iris.
Yeah, because that's brutal, man.
With this mysterious masked villain, which is just one red herring villain out of the many we get in this movie.
Well, that scene was brutal. I wanted to look away. Like a couple times I did, but it was, I don't know, man. The cut between the jacking in of the guy like raping and tying up this chick and then going back to Lenny and he's just like making facial expressions like he's the person having sex. So he's like, oh, and like he's like making these weird noises, and to me that was comical because it was just bad acting. But I didn't blame him because how can you act out that scene? Number one, and number two, why are you showing him? Because that took me out of it. I'm like, this is hilarious.
Well, the whole time we don't know who this killer is, obviously, and we're set up afterwards to think that Hawkface Gant is the murderer rapist.
But he's just
the
like
whole time
addicted to it.
Yeah.
He's just addicted to feeling what people feel.
And then we have the two psycho cops, Steckler and Engelman.
Yeah, because they're the ones that kill the hip hop artist, and then Iris gets away, so they're after Iris, and then she gives the tape to Lenny because they see her give the tape to Lenny. That's why the cops are then after Lenny and Mace, killing them because
the cops were their own set of crazy. I mean, because during the New Year's Eve scene, I mean, Steckler just starts shooting people in the crowd.
Dude, everyone. And nothing happens.
No one stops him.
That scene was kind of funny because the camera would point to him, he'd shoot, and then he'd just point to the crowd and someone would just dive on the ground.
There were all these cops, other cops in riot gear.
Yeah.
And they see him shooting like
random civilians.
Yeah, like why doesn't and these cops have shields and they've got tasers and all this stuff. Just run over and like tase him in the neck. Like, get him to stop.
Or be like, yo, bro, you're not supposed to gun down random
civilians. Or he's surrounded
like
by
this.
civilians and people who, like, would see that.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't anybody, like, jump on his back or start, like, beating the crap out of him?
Exactly. Because he's just trying to shoot after Mace horribly.
And then poor Engelman, just, like, I felt more like that Engelman was along for the ride with Steckler's craziness, that he wasn't actually trying to do bad things. It was more like he was coerced to doing them by Steckler.
Yeah, that's what I felt like too with his character. Like he almost seemed like a cop that's new on duty, you know? Like he wasn't a seasoned veteran. He was just, should I do this? Oh, okay. I guess I will. And then slowly throughout the film, he realizes, oh crap, I'm in too deep. But they didn't flesh out those characters enough, I felt like.
No, really the only fleshing out of the characters we got was Lenny and Mace.
That was it.
Yeah. And
I felt it was like a kind of a misstep on the director's part.
And then there was like so much characterization in Max during his final evil reveal plan, which so much there. And the way it turns out, if we find out that Max was actually the masked murderer and rapist, and Max just seemed like such a plain serial killer.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he was gloved up and he had the disguise on and he picked the lock and went inside and he had a ritual, and it was like watching like a chapter from Mindhunter is what it was. Just like serial killer methodology and profiling could be at work here.
Well, I knew it was him like halfway through, because when he snuck into the apartment and put the knife up to Lenny's neck, and then like he woke up, saw the video, and then saw Mace in the kitchen, and she was kind of like eyeballing him weirdly. I was like, all right, it's either Mace or Max. And then like once Mace went along with, I was like, oh, it can't be Mace. That wouldn't make sense. Because Max, he just had like this horrible wig on with Tom Sizemore.
Which we didn't know was a wig until the end of the movie.
Yeah, but it was so bad. And I'm like, oh, I bet he's just doing the squid the whole time. And then sure enough, they rip off the wig and it's a squid tech. But that was weird to me because I thought if you jacked in too much, then your brain turns to mush, or like you can't come back to reality, right?
Yeah.
Because that happened to the one guy,
Tick, in the van.
And then it happened to Philo.
Mm-hmm.
So
with the exception of the squid tech, though, I mean, nothing seemed super futuristic in this movie.
Outside of the fashion.
Oh, Lord.
Horrible fashion.
The horrible, horrible fashion.
Dude, that would probably be like my lens flare for this thing. The fashion was just, seriously, every single time Lenny, like the scene, whenever they went somewhere, it was like he had a different outfit. And like you described these outfits, they're outrageous.
Yeah, Lenny in the beginning of the film is wearing leather pants, which, unless you're a cowboy and you have jeans underneath, you have no reason to wear like leather anything. Leather is like the most useless fabric article of clothing that's ever been invented, and yet people still wear it for jackets. Spoiler alert, leather jackets don't keep you warm in winter.
No,
they don't.
But I have a leather jacket.
Well, bully for you. Now you know you wasted some money.
I like my leather jacket.
So he's wearing those leather pants in the beginning of the film, and then at the New Year's celebration he's wearing this tuxedo, but it's like crushed black velvet. and he has this waistcoat that goes down to his knees. It's almost like a trench coat.
It's so weird.
Mace is the only one who seems like she's wearing like appropriate clothing for the time.
Yeah.
Like she has her business professional look when she's chauffeuring around that guy. And then she has like her combat street clothes. And then she's got her formal wear for the end of the film.
Yeah.
And Lenny's just wearing like these ratty suits that like some street pimp would wear.
Yeah. Like he'd have like a aqua colored shirt, that button up shirt, and then a ruby tie. And he'd just be like, oh, these clothes don't match. This tie doesn't go with the shirt. I'm like, okay, now I don't know if the director's poking fun at his excessive like outfit changes, because it was like every time he would change.
I mean, but the technology did seem somewhat appropriate. I mean, the cars didn't seem like too ostentatious. They didn't have any solar panels or retrofitted with any like body kits or anything. The guns seemed fairly normal because anytime Hollywood does a futuristic film, they always like go ham on the future tech.
Yeah.
Even the cell phone seemed appropriate for what we got in the year 2000. I mean,
it was pretty up to date, I would say.
Yeah, because they didn't look like bricks, but they were slim and they looked light that you could carry them. I mean, I don't know how they were able to get signal in like in a tall abandoned building though, because that seems like that'd be a dead zone.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, like literally there was a dead zone every 50 feet because we didn't have cell towers like we do now.
It's so true. I mean, because we looked up dash cams. I mean, the whole murder scene wouldn't have happened because of surprise dash cams.
Yeah, like we made this point, like, because this was year 2000.
Yeah.
So it was the time after the Rodney King verdict. So you'd think like there'd be dash cams in all the LAPD vehicles, and that would have captured the horrible execution. That would have just ended it right there. And even like if it was turned off, they would have to answer like, okay, well, why was your dash cam turned off?
Exactly. Why? Why is it conveniently turned off when you were at the scene of the execution? And
I think you touched on this too. I mean, that whole scene with Jericho 1 and his friend and their lady friend being shot, that was just a long list of brutal scenes in this movie.
Yeah, it was pretty tough to watch. I think you have to. It was like a mishmash of like art house, futuristic tech, brutal murder, dialogue that you really had to like listen to and get through, because if you didn't pay attention to this film, it would really pass you by, I think.
I mean, the opening scene itself, where it was in real time and these guys go in and rob the Chinese restaurant. I mean,
yeah. That was crazy. I mean, what an opening, though. What an opening.
I actually read that was filmed at 4 different locations because they couldn't find just one location with everything they needed.
That's funny. Well, great editing.
Yeah, and they disguised their cuts with like turnaways and pans and all that. So, I mean, that was good editing there.
Yes, I would. See, that was the crazy part about this film. It had some brilliant moments with editing, but then there would be some moments where you're just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I have to question some of the filmmaking decisions here, and I think this is more. I think I lay the onus on James Cameron here for these.
Yeah, like the ending cutscene.
Oh, good Lord! The big reveal of Max is probably the most egregious of this.
It's so bad, you almost get dizzy from the different cuts.
So it's Max on one end of the room and Lenny on the other end of the room. Max is revealing his horrible plan. So the camera goes to Max, and then quick cut to Lenny's face, and then a quick cut like looking up at Max, and then it's at shoulder height of Max. Quick cut back to Letty, and then back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with all these cuts.
While they're giving dialogue.
Yeah, these cuts are mid-sentence, mid-word, and it's like Tarantino moving the camera, except Tarantino does it better than this.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like, because I got it at the beginning, because Max was talking, and it zoomed on Lenny, and then you see Max in the mirror. It's like, ooh, I'm artsy. I'm just going to focus on this dude giving the mirror, in the background mirror giving his plan. And I'm like, this is terrible. Why would I use this shot?
But then they kept using that style of cutting there
the whole time.
When Max is dangling off of Lenny's tie.
That was terrible.
Because it was cut on Max's face, then cut to Lenny's face, cut back to Max's face, then cut to Lenny's
Over the
back where there's a knife sticking out of him.
And then back up from under, so you see Max dangling. It's like, what? What is going on? We get it. We get the situation. He's dangling over a balcony onto the crowd. We get it. We don't need 15 cuts of different angles.
And then the characters themselves, I mean, Max was almost shoehorned in at the villain within the last like half hour of the film, and then he's just dropped off the building unceremoniously.
Yeah, I don't know why they shoehorned him in. I was trying to figure out why. I'm like, what? I guess you could have done Philo as this evil guy. That
and then
would
they
have
put
made
in
more
this
sense.
this love story with Mace and Lenny literally in the last minute of the film.
Yeah, because they make out. Yeah, he just opens up the limo and just grabs her and kisses. I'm like, what?
Lenny realizes what he's had in front of him the entire time and has to plant one on Angela Bassett. Like, dude, it took you 2.5 hours to get to this point.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? And she's been chastising him the entire movie. She's really the only like truly great character in this film.
She is.
Because she has that great like come to Jesus talk with Lenny, saying like, you're living someone else's memories. You need to stop doing this stuff.
I would say, yes, I totally agree with you. She is the most grounded and interesting character in this film. Lenny is just annoying how he keeps going back to faith. I mean, Ralph Fiennes acted the crap out of this part. He was insatiable because I haven't seen many of his roles where he's the prominent lead. But outside of those two, it was just kind of like, ooh.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am glad that Lenny and Mace got together, but this just reeks of the fact that Cameron either doesn't know how to write romantic storylines or just uses all of the cliche ones.
Well, there is Titanic and Avatar, Chris. And nothing's more cliche than those two films.
So I'm tend to just lean towards the fact that he loves using the cliches.
Well, I'm going to second that. No offense, James Cameron. You're a great filmmaker, but
this movie also did touch on some rather relevant themes.
Yeah.
Relevant concepts. We talked about Jericho 1 being assassinated and the kind of the racial overtones there.
Yeah.
And then also this idea of live streaming crime, which I found a very interesting article about, because there have been a slew of incidents going back to 2016 about crimes that have either been broadcasted on Facebook Live or on Twitch live stream.
Yeah.
So there was a police shooting that involved the death of a young man named Philando Castile in 2016 as his girlfriend was live streaming the incident from their car, which was insane. And then in 2017, there was a gang rape in Sweden that was live streamed to Facebook.
That's nuts.
And also in 2017, there was a shooting death of a man named Robert Godwin in Cleveland, where a man opened his Facebook Live, said he was going to walk up and shoot some random person in the head, and this poor person that was the victim of the crime turned out to be poor Robert Godwin. That's
terrible. Why would you live stream your murder? Like, what sick person would do that?
Well, then there were two more incidents that...
Two more?
Two more. There was, in 2018, there was a mass shooting at an esports tournament that was live streamed to Twitch.
That's nuts.
And then in 2019, this past year, there was the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand that was broadcast on Facebook Live for 17 minutes.
That's so
where
messed
over
up.
50 people were killed.
That's so messed up.
And it wasn't until after this specific incident that Facebook began to evaluate exactly what material is live streamed.
Yeah.
Like, it took you long enough, Facebook.
The Vegas thing wasn't live streamed?
No, that was at a concert, and I think there were people in the crowd that started pulling out their phones and taking pictures and video. They weren't live streaming it or anything. I don't think they were.
Okay.
But I mean,
that's nuts though, dude. Why would you live stream your own? Like, how messed up is that?
Well, it's just these people who feel like they need a stage. Like,
Yeah.
they want to feel in power and they want to feel respected. And they want to feel feared. Like this,
What?
like this isn't the way of going about it. Like you
No, this is not the way
you
of
need
going
professional psychiatric help, not an audience.
about it. Yes, that's terrible. That's almost as bad as like people recording incidents of like people getting mugged right in front of them and just standing by.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse: people live streaming their crimes or somebody recording a crime and not helping to intervene.
So what else? Is there any more filmmaking decisions or anything that threw you?
I was more interested in the backstory of Lenny, because all we get that he was involved with Faith and that he was an ex-cop. Why is he an ex-cop?
I know. I wish we could have seen more of him like doing cop things. Because we really didn't get that. He just like mentioned every time they would talk about the police, he'd just be like, oh, they're lazy. Oh, it's not going to take, we're just going to throw it under the rug.
I mean, if he was an ex-cop, I would think that he was fired for just calling his boss stupid. And
probably.
Little professional tip for you people, if you call your boss stupid for long enough, they will fire you.
They will. You can't just say what you want to people.
I mean, besides the editing decisions, and that leads me to actually my lens flare was the scene at the impound when Mace and Lenny are going to retrieve a disc from Lenny's car. They encounter this big Rottweiler. And it runs out to them and barks at him. And then Mace pulls out a can of, I guess, mace. And sprays his poor dog. And it just runs away.
I know.
Yeah. And then this also, it leads to
your
my
red shirt. Yes.
Is the dog.
The dog gets maced and
the dog gets killed.
What the crap? This is another episode.
So after Mace and Lenny retrieve the disc from the car, they're found by the two crazy cops. And they start like cornering them, and they want the disc, and then the dog comes out of nowhere and starts biting Engelman. He shakes the dog off and just shoots it.
When will it stop, Chris?
I don't know.
The murder of these innocent animals and these sci-fi flicks.
But I'm getting pretty sick of it, to be honest. Because we keep seeing this. This is at least our 5th film where we see some poor animal just get killed for no reason.
We should have like a dog kill counter.
Yeah, we need a running tally of just like barnyard animals that have been killed.
Barnyard animals.
Well, in Doomsday, I think we got 2 of them.
That's terrible.
It's just too many to count so far. There was a goat in Jurassic Park as well. Oh, man. And then there's this poor dog and so many cute barnyard animals.
Just gets murdered. No problem killing humans in horror movies. But no. In sci-fi, it's animals, man. All right. So that I definitely agree. That was a red shirt.
That poor dog.
That poor freaking dog.
They don't even get the dog's name.
No.
It's just Junkyard Dog.
To humanize the dog.
Yeah, that's like red shirt number 9 on the Star Trek original series. Oh, just Junkyard Dog.
We got to show these cops mean business. Let's throw a dog out in front of them. Papa, papa.
How does that casting meeting go? It's like, all right, now play dead.
Dude, what if you're a dog owner and they're like, you have to kill this dog? Oh, that's terrible.
Well, they don't actually kill the dog.
Obviously. But like if you're in a scene, they're like, all right, Chris, you're going to murder this adorable puppy.
I couldn't do it.
It's like, boop, boop.
No. I quit.
Put a cat in front of me and we'll talk.
Not even a cat. I have a cat at home and I can't do that either.
Turtle?
No, I don't have a turtle.
Cow?
Well, why would I kill a turtle?
Just to show your human business. What about a tiger?
No.
Horse?
Tigers are majestic.
What?
And horses are beautiful creatures.
Oh, my God. What about a porcupine? Skunk?
Skunks can go.
Love it. All right, so I think we've talked enough about this.
Ooh, I found a new addition in This Week in Toxic Fandom.
Yes. What? Throw it at. I think I saw this too.
So this week's Toxic Fandom, courtesy of the pedants on IMDb, the new millennium began on January 1st, 2001, and not in the year 2000, which was the last year of the 20th century.
Yep.
So we have a calendar pedant now we can add to the list.
That's right. Along with our astro pedants, our physic pedants.
Yeah. So congratulations, nerd.
They're calendar thumpers, man. It's crazy. Actually.
Somebody was just watching Strange Days and got so mad that they had to push up their glasses to the bridge of their nose and be like, actually.
Out of the 8 million that it took from the box office, that's the one person.
Yeah.
So let's go into legacy with this bad boy.
So this movie was not an immediate success.
No, it was not in any regards, man.
It grossed $8 million at the box office against that $30 million budget.
Yeah. Oh, yours is 30. Mine says 42 on Wikipedia. So that's even worse.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
Did it even do anything with home media? I don't even think so.
Slightly. I saw that it was released on DVD, I think, in 1999.
Yeah.
But it was well received at critics at the time of release, though. I mean, Roger Ebert called it a, quote, technical tour de force, unquote, and gave the film 4 stars.
He loved it, which is crazy, man.
And this film was actually recognized big at the 22nd annual Saturn Awards.
Yeah, that's right.
Catherine Bigelow won for Best Director, and Angela Bassett won for Best Actress.
It is true.
It was nominated in several other categories as well. I saw Best Science Fiction Film was in that category. Was among the nominations.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie, it has since developed a cult following.
Oh, I can see. It's art housey.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
I can see that.
And the critical standing, I would say, has improved. And the attitudes have kind of softened towards this film.
Yeah, but you still can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to find. I mean, unless you're like me and you're weird and you have these off-the-wall movies in your collection.
You want to see that, who's that chick that played Faith?
Yeah.
Oh, Juliette Lewis. If you want to see her, like, make her pitch to be a rock star. Because I guess she actually sang all of her parts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot to talk about that.
Well, she actually is a touring musician with her band.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, Juliette Lewis
Oh,
is.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Oh, well, rock on. Because, yeah, this is like in the 90s when, like, punk was a thing. A lot of this film has a lot of music of her just singing away.
Yeah, I don't get the context of the songs, though. I don't understand the lyrics.
No, I didn't either.
This was also around the time when No Doubt was pretty big, so that was kind of like the be-all and end-all of female-led rock groups.
About that.
But, I mean, Juliette Lewis is just one of a few people who have gone on to do bigger and better things after this movie. I mean, Ralph Fiennes is now M in James Bond films and has had a stellar film career.
Oh, totally.
Angela Bassett is now part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the Queen of Wakanda.
Oh, she's legendary too, man.
Well, the exception would be Tom Sizemore, who has been battling drug addiction and has run into a
25 years.
The whole slew of legal problems such as drug possession and domestic violence. There is actually a story of him when he was in Saving Private Ryan and all these it was coming to light his issues with alcohol and drugs, and Steven Spielberg sat him down, as he played a very prominent supporting role in the film, sat him down and told him that he was going to get drug and alcohol tested every single day. And if he failed even one of those tests, regardless of how far they were into production, Spielberg would recast his role and reshoot all of his scenes.
That is nuts. Luckily,
that didn't happen, and Sizemore turned in the best performance of his career.
Yes, by far.
But yeah, in this movie, he just turns out to be, bug nuts insane.
He plays the role great, though.
Okay, so I think we unpacked enough of Strange Days, Sean.
I think so. Let's give our own review.
Let's give our rating, shall we?
Yes.
So using our scale on the Force Fed Sci-Fi podcast of wouldn't watch, would own, and would host viewing parties, what do you give 1995's Strange Days?
I think I would probably watch it with people that are really into like art housey films and they want to see something interesting and weird from the 90s. So like I wouldn't like trash it and say I'd never see this again because the film sequences are awesome. Like some of the editing movements are great. The camera, the POV is awesome. But I don't think I couldn't because you can't even find it anywhere.
So you would watch this, it would just have to be with like a select group of people.
Yeah, like if I was doing like a film study or something, teaching a class or learning about something in a class, definitely. Because you could pull some moments away from this film.
It's a good example to show in a film class. Like, see, this is what you do well, and this is what you do poorly.
In the same film. It's crazy. How about you, man?
I would have to agree with you. I would call this a would watch. Despite the fact of me owning it in my collection. This isn't a movie that I like actively seek out, though. Like I like, if I do a marathon like this, I like finding films that have a similar theme to it. Like I would watch Strange Days and then I would follow it up afterwards with maybe something like Zodiac.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think for starters, the length is a big problem with the film. It feels a half hour longer than it should be.
They could have cut some more stuff out of there.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Some of the camera movements a bit off-putting, especially towards the end of the film. Some of the clip scenes are incredibly brutal and could make somebody who isn't expecting those scenes to just turn off the film. But I do agree with you that the POV scenes are done well. Yeah. And it is acted with some good characters. I mean, not great, because Mace is really the only great one.
Yeah. With like an actual story.
The world in that this film takes place does feel fully formed, but this seems like almost an extreme version of that.
Because it was like if the cops, it's like cops versus the gangs.
Yeah.
And if the cops don't win control, then the gangs are going to take over. There's like one or the other.
This is
no
like
in
everything
between.
that NWA and Public Enemy were rapping about in the early 90s just coming true.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's like Bigelow and Cameron just saw the violence that was happening around them and just started rolling with it. Like, made a film that like, well, what would happen if we just continued down this path?
Thankfully, we did not.
So I think that about wraps it up for Strange Days. What do you think about picking our next movie, Sean?
Oh, it's time.
It's time.
We're calling.
We're calling in for a favor to Major Samantha
Oh, yeah.
to help us pick from a list of 118 films, and she has selected...
Bow chicka wow wow.
She has selected number 70. So it's a 2001 film directed by Ivan Reitman. It is Evolution.
Hey.
Starring David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Julianne Moore, and Sean William Scott.
Okay, I remember seeing trailers of this back in the day when it was out, but I never saw it.
Yeah.
My mother scoffed and said, I'm not taking you to that.
Oh, your poor mother.
She is a lovely woman.
She is. So I think that about wraps it up on this edition of Force Fed Sci-Fi. If you enjoyed today's show, please head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. It helps drive us up the charts as well as help people like you find the show. We are across the spectrum of social media with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Force Fed Sci-Fi. You can check out and download episodes at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you find podcasts. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And finally, you can check out our website, forcefedsci-fi.com, for show notes and links to all of our social media. So for all of us at the Force Fed Sci-Fi team, we will see you next time. Force Fed Sci-Fi is written and hosted by Sean Culp and Chris Rupp. Website design, associate producer, and editing by Jeremy Keski. Artwork designed by Mike Berger. Theme music composed and performed by Custom Anthem.